I'm tired of pretending I don't live in a society for sociopaths. And I say for sociopaths, not of sociopaths, because I have always, and perhaps on some level still do, have a strange belief in people's goodness, in their potential to be good. And at the same time, I've had my nihilistic moments where, I remember saying once to a friend, I always thought people were good, were mostly good, and now I'm not so sure. And he said, well, you had to figure that one out eventually. And so, of course, I've gone back and forth in my life, but I guess it's something that I have to believe on some level, that we have that potential, but I just can't look around and pretend like, this is the way I feel like we should be living. For so many reasons. It's all well trodden ground. But I'm sick of being a human resource. I'm sick of a face on a Zoom call smiling at me and telling me we're all a family, and we care about our employees, sort of thing, and doesn't matter what job it is. It's just we're a resource, and it's the mask that we put over this thing that makes it sociopathic. Well, there's two elements. Sociopathy I think of as the lack of empathy. First of all, a lack of true empathy, and this sort of self-centered, the world is about me. I think people often use the word narcissism as well, but I'm going to use sociopathy. The other aspect is the masking of it. The use of words that make us feel good, that we want to embrace, like love, the distortion of them, the use of them while blinding ourselves to all of the damage that's actually being caused by whatever it is we're participating in, the society often that we're forced to participate in, or like when we're at work. I think of in Gene Wolfe's book of the New Sun, where Severian says, we're all torturers in one way or the other. In fact, I think a lot of what's at the core of Book of the New Sun, it's been a few years since I read it, but I was quite obsessed with it for a time. It's a fantasy novel written by a Catholic author, but I think really the core thing that stays with me from it is the struggle over individual identity and being consumed, your identity being consumed by an outside entity, which is strangely kind of in some ways is presented as a horror of being consumed by an alien being, and it uses your mind to hunt your family, or whether it be people who choose to leave society and have their consciousness ripped out of them, or even in what is presented as the whole Deus Ex Machina, the good thing of the story, the sort of God is sort of willing both good and evil to work toward the creation and recreation of the universe, sort of thing. I may not have gotten that exactly right, but I'm working on a kind of a higher level of abstract thought, I think, here. But regardless of whether it's religious or extraterrestrial, or just your work, you become consumed. Your mind is consumed by something, and where is the empathy for simply other living beings, other people in this world? We have to eat, we have to shit, we have to survive. But then you start asking, what's, for what? And of course, that's the road you go down. Now, of course, I enjoy life almost inherently, to the point where I guess if you're a sensitive person to this kind of line of thinking, then don't watch this video. But it's like where I'm going with this is what legacy are we after here? You know, worms are going to eat you. Worms are going to eat everyone that remembers you. Worms are going to... There's no legacy. There's no fortune. Why pursue these things? Why pursue these things? Why pursue anything except the spirit, the good will? And what I mean by spirit is sort of this kind of intangible love for other beings, you know, empathy and things like that. I guess I've been reading the Sufis the last few days, and Attar and stuff, and just really thinking though, like, what's the point? And I know there's an answer, and I know there's an answer of why to live and how to live. I still believe that, so I'm not afraid to ask these questions. But losing my voice. But I think that the aim of what we're doing here is to comfort and help others somehow. It's particularly other humans, but we can't really do that without also being conscious about the environment and nature. So I guess still a bit of a humanist streak in me, but the real point of today's video is that I am tired of living in a society where people are just like pretending to care about others when they don't, or, you know, even if they're not pretending, it's still sociopathic. And I think more and more people are not pretending. And then now we've moved to just this total disregard for other people. And so I would, in that sense, I would almost rather people pretend. Let's go say good morning or good afternoon, or thank you, have a nice day, talk to the person at the cash register. You know, it's like I have to do a lot of inner work myself, to be honest, on this stuff, and outer work, and try to live what I'm saying here. I'm just kind of expressing a lot of what I'm feeling, and none of this again is new. It's been said by probably a lot of other people on YouTube. I've probably said it in other videos, but it's now kind of surging, like, you know, like the Attar poem translated by Shole Wolpe, surge like an ocean wave, don't scatter yourself like a storm. It's just that all of these things around an idea of love and a higher love for life and other beings, and the source, the creator of this life, whatever that is, even if it's an accident. How is it, you know, we still feel a sort of sense of unity toward this universe? Even the fact that we're able to feel that is marvelous, is something that should give us hope. So, I don't know, bit of a woo-woo talk. I shouldn't undercut my own intuition on this, which I often do. I often undercut my own intuition toward love and inspiration in a more selfless sense, and I've been trained to do that since I was really young, slowly. And I remember I was very zealously religious at one point, which at some point morphed into a hero fantasy, which became more about being a hero just so that others would see me as a hero, rather than like truly wanting to be part of a selfless cause. But there was that true sort of religious devotion when I was younger that, you know, I can't go back to like embracing one particular religion, Catholicism, or what I grew up in, or some other Christianity, or I can't even like Buddhism or anything. You know, I've looked at a few others, but there's no one that I feel like right now I can just say that's what I'm following. But there is a sense of like we need something spiritual here, that and coupled of course with with a strong appreciation for critical thinking, so that others cannot deceive us, so that charlatans cannot deceive us, so that we aren't just pulled into somebody else's sort of path, which at any moment they themselves may use against us. So it's yeah, in the end, all these are just words, and part of the great thing about like poetry and literature and is that it can kind of actually break us out of it. I've been finding lately that whenever I analyze something, that I tend to destroy it for myself. I look back on the 5 or 6 essays I wrote recently, 7, I'd say, and I disagree on some level with almost all of them after writing them. They've destroyed a certain outlook on life for me, but in its place is surging one that I think I can truly live with. And maybe that was the point. I won't say it was intentional, but maybe often that's the point of writing essays, is to more destroy ideas rather than synergize and build them up. And the last thing I want is to become a brand, is to become something else that others look at, like whether it's on YouTube or outside it, as this particular thing that I've been trying to get out of that box that I created for myself, basically since I created this YouTube channel. But that's mostly inner work, and now I've lost a bit of the thread. Part of, I think, this self-absorption is also the problem of why we have a sociopathic society. It's the isolation, right? We isolate. Our lives are so isolated. My house, my little box, and of course, these things are good to some extent. There's always this tendency in these conversations to want to veer off into some idealizing of traditional societies or small communities, when those things can be very hellish too. And it's so easy to romanticize history. There's no point in history that I can even think of that I would look back and say, oh, I would rather live there, because then the question is, as who and doing what? And it's just in the end it's a question that doesn't, like, for so many reasons we can't go back. The only way around most things is through them, unfortunately. And so everything we've created in the modern world as humans is kind of like we're stuck with it until it's just forgotten, right? So there's so many of us, someone's going to use it, someone's looking for power over others. But I just think the psychological battle here, which is also a spiritual battle, is to just make the world understand that worms are going to eat us, and so to isolate ourselves, to build up our fortunes, to build up our legacies, is just it can't be what we're here for. If it is, there's no point, because the universe is going to take all of that away. And so you got to find something else if you're being really, truly honest with yourself. And I suppose that is more so than believing that people are truly good. I believe that people cannot escape the honesty that they desire at the core of their being. So touched on a lot of things. Isolation, the masks people wear over this sociopathic viewing of everyone else as a resource, as this all about numbers. It's all about numbers, the bottom line. That's what we are. And it's different to say that we are a bottom line and to say that, okay, the world will be just fine without any one of us. Even the most important, the most famous of us, the worms will eat us all, we will all be forgotten, and the world will be just fine without any one of us. But that's not the same as saying that we are bottom lines, because we still exist in this world, in this space, with a responsibility and an effect on everybody around us. And that's still something to be not taken lightly. It's probably the only reason that we are here is our effects, our decisions. I don't know if they're choices, don't know if I believe in free will. Doesn't really matter, even for the purposes of this conversation, this one-way conversation at a camera in a car. It's, I don't know, we can't escape the honesty at the core of our being. That's a message for my own self to work on. It's, I guess, the thing today I want to put out into the world for whoever still listens to me on this channel. So thanks for watching, and I don't know, maybe I'll do more videos like this. That's another thing I've been thinking of. Okay, a little coda here, that I've been asking myself too, what is the right time to make a video? I don't want it to be a compulsion. I don't want it to be like, oh my god, I haven't made a video in 3 days and now I gotta make one. What is the right time to make a video? What's the right feeling? Why do I make a video instead of writing? It's the world I live in. I don't know, something to examine, I guess. Everything is worth examining. If we're being truly honest with ourselves at the core of our being, there's nothing to be afraid of examining the harshest truths about ourselves and about life. Because in the end, as people say, you know, well, I don't know who says this. It's what I say. It's between you and God. It's between you and death. It's between you and your final moment. That's it.